Here, in the high valleys of northern Pakistan, the very definition of a desert is challenged. This is Katpana, a vast expanse of cold, windswept sand dunes cradled at an astonishing altitude of over 2,200 meters. Its fine, silvery gold grains are not the product of a sun-scorched earth, but of millennia of glacial grinding, ancient rock pulverized by ice and carried here by wind and water. The landscape is a breathtaking study in contrasts. The soft, shifting dunes lie starkly against the jagged, snow-capped peaks of the Karakoram Range, while the turquoise waters of the Indus River flow nearby, a lifeline in this arid anomaly. This is not just a geographical curiosity. It is a direct and powerful testament to the immense tectonic uplift that created the roof of the world, a place where the forces of ice and desert converge to write a silent, profound story of geological time. Floating at the southern extreme of the Japanese archipelago, the Ishigaki Islands seem to exist in a different timeline, a world away from the mainland's neon pulse. Their profound story, however, is not one of mere geographical distance. It is written in the very rock and sand. These are geological infants, born not of fire and volcano, but of life itself. Ancient coral reefs slowly uplifted from the seabed over the last 400,000 years. This foundation of porous Ryukyu limestone is the architect of the landscape, the secret behind the almost supernatural clarity of the surrounding sea, as it filters rainwater to create a perfect cradle for new coral growth. For centuries, this unique environment nurtured an equally distinct culture. As a key outpost of the seafaring Ryukyu kingdom, Ishigaki was a vibrant crossroads of maritime trade, its identity shaped more by the monsoon winds and the flow of goods than by the shoguns of Edo. Here, the brilliant white sands are not just the hallmark of a tropical paradise. They are the powdered, living history of the reef, a constant reminder that the island is both a product of and a participant in the vast, patient work of the ocean. Known as the Portuguese Rome, Braga's identity is forged from a spiritual authority stretching back over 2,000 years. Founded by Emperor Augustus as Bracara Augusta, it evolved into the seat of immense ecclesiastical power, where its archbishop held the formidable title of Primate of all the Spains, a claim of influence that once shaped the entire Iberian Peninsula. This ancient power is not a relic confined to history books. It is etched into the very fabric of the city. You feel it in the sheer density of sacred spaces, with over 30 distinct bell towers punctuating the skyline of the historic center alone. The city's enduring pulse is set by the tolling of these bells, and its story is written in the language of exuberant Baroque granite, where every ornate facade and gilded altar stands as a testament to a power both divine and terrestrial. This isn't just a city with a religious past. It is a place where faith was so inextricably linked with influence that it became the literal foundation stone, creating a landscape of solemn, enduring magnificence. Here, at the northernmost tip of Unguja Island, the geography itself dictates a different rhythm. Unlike the dramatic tidal retreats that define much of Zanzibar's coast, Nungwi's shores are uniquely sheltered, allowing the turquoise waters of the Indian Ocean to kiss the coral sand throughout the day. This rare geological stability is the very reason for its renown, offering uninterrupted access to the sea. Yet, to see only a modern paradise is to miss the village's deeper identity, one that is literally carved into its coastline. For centuries, this has been the island's primary center for dhow construction. Along the beach, master craftsmen still work by hand, shaping resilient hardwoods into the iconic vessels that have plied these trade winds for generations. It is a profound and living juxtaposition, a shoreline where the ancient, patient craft of shipbuilding unfolds just meters away from the leisurely pace of 21st century travel, both traditions sustained by the same constant, forgiving tide. To truly understand Istanbul, one must first understand its water. The Bosphorus is more than a strait. It is the city's central artery, a channel of ceaseless movement that has dictated its destiny for millennia. Geologists tell us this is a drowned river valley, carved during the Ice Age, and dramatically flooded some 7,500 years ago when the Mediterranean surged north, transforming the Black Sea from a freshwater lake into the saltwater basin we know today. This single, cataclysmic event created the world's narrowest strait used for international navigation, a 31-kilometer-long choke point that is the sole maritime gateway between the Black Sea and the wider world. It is precisely this geography that gave birth to the city, making it a coveted prize for empires. And so, As the ferries chart their paths from Europe to Asia, they glide over a submerged landscape that not only separates continents, but is the very reason this metropolis exists, its modern pulse still beating to an ancient aquatic rhythm. Christchurch, the most English of New Zealand's cities, unfolds across the landscape with a deceptive tranquility. Its orderly parks and the gentle curve of the Avon River are laid upon a foundation that is anything but static. The city rests on the vast Canterbury Plains, an immense alluvial fan built over millennia by the shifting gravels of braided rivers like the Wamakariri. This very ground, rich, flat, and fertile, which drew the first European settlers, also holds a profound vulnerability. During the devastating earthquakes of 2010 and 2011, the water-saturated layers of silt and sand beneath the city underwent liquefaction, transforming seemingly solid earth into a fluid slurry. The result was a city shaken to its very core, forced into a radical act of reinvention. What we witness today is therefore more than just reconstruction. It is a testament to human resilience, a community reimagining its future upon a powerful and dynamic land that both defines and challenges its existence. While today these shores are synonymous with serene escape, their story begins not with tranquility, but with one of humanity's most audacious voyages. Over 3,500 years ago, the first settlers, a seafaring people known to archaeologists as the Lapita, navigated the vast, unknown Pacific to make this archipelago their home. Their calling card, a distinctive style of intricately stamped pottery, is found scattered like clues across these volcanic islands, from Viti Levu to the Lau Group. These ceramic fragments are more than mere artifacts. They are the tangible echoes of a foundational epic, a testament to the courage and navigational genius required to settle this remote paradise. It is a profound reminder that beneath the swaying palms and crystalline waters lies a landscape not just of geological wonder, but one profoundly shaped by a deep and resilient human spirit, forged on the longest of journeys. To comprehend the Pyrenees is to witness a frontier forged not by nations, but by the colossal forces of geology. Unlike the Alps, born from a more direct continental collision, this range tells a story of rotation and impact. Some 50 million years ago, the Iberian microplate, a fragment of a lost continent, pivoted on its axis and ground its way northward into the flank of Eurasia. The result is not a gentle ripple of hills, but an immense natural rampart stretching over 400 kilometers from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean. This violent uplift created a formidable barrier of jagged limestone and granite peaks, carving out deep, isolated valleys that would become cradles for distinct cultures, languages, and traditions. Even today, this geological scar dictates more than just a political boundary. It separates climates, funnels winds, and ensures that to cross from the French side to the Spanish is to step into a subtly different world, one still defined by that ancient tectonic drama. It's easy to comprehend why Captain Cook, sailing past on his historic voyage in 1770, saw the unmistakable silhouette of a formidable fortress in this dramatic headland. From the deck of a ship, its sheer, imposing cliffs and commanding presence would have suggested a bastion carved by human hands, designed to guard the coast. Yet this is entirely nature's architecture, a colossal 162-meter-high reef thrust upwards from an ancient seabed by immense geological forces over millennia. Its pale, sun-bleached limestone serves as a veritable library of geologic time, its layers intricately filled with the delicate, fossilized shells of countless marine creatures that lived and died here over 2 million years ago, when this entire landscape was submerged beneath a warm, shallow sea. For long centuries before Cook's vessel ever appeared on the horizon, Maori knew this place intimately as Rangiwakaoma, the place where the sky runs, a name that speaks profoundly to the immense scale of the landscape, where the boundless sky seems to race across the towering bluffs. This same powerful, earth-shaping uplift also created the sheltered lagoon that lies peacefully in its lee, a tranquil expanse of turquoise water offering a stark and beautiful contrast to the turbulent, open ocean that breaks against its seaward face. The Great Vermilion Torii of Itsukushima appears to float weightlessly upon the waters of the Seto Inland Sea, a gateway not just to a shrine, but to an entire sacred island. For centuries, Miyajima itself was considered a deity, so divine that commoners were forbidden to set foot on its soil. This profound reverence is the very reason for the shrine's extraordinary overwater design, a masterful solution dating back to the 6th century. The current form, established in the 12th century by the powerful warlord Taira no Kiyomori, allowed pilgrims to arrive by boat, passing through the torii and worshipping from the pier-like corridors without defiling the hallowed ground. The entire complex is a theatre for the tides. At its peak, the shrine becomes a floating palace mirrored in the calm sea. while at its ebb, the water recedes to reveal the massive timber foundations, inviting a terrestrial walk to the foot of the gate. It stands as a testament not to the conquest of nature, but to a deep and abiding partnership with it, a sacred space built in rhythm with the moon and the sea. Long before cartographers precisely defined it, Cabo da Roca was felt more than it was measured, a true edge of the world. The Romans knew it as Promontorium Magnum, the Great Cape, but it was the poet Luis Vaz de Camões who captured its soul. Onde a terra se acaba e o mar começa, where the land ends and the sea begins. Standing here, you understand why. Sheer granite cliffs plummet over 140 meters into a turbulent Atlantic, scoured by winds so relentless that only the hardiest, low-growing flora can survive. This wasn't just a geographical curiosity. For Portugal's great navigators in the 15th and 16th centuries, this was the final, formidable silhouette of Europe. It was the last piece of the known world they would see for months, or perhaps forever. To be here is to stand not just at a location, but at a threshold, a profound windswept departure point from which the modern world was charted. Perched atop its solitary green hill, Gruyère presents an almost impossibly perfect medieval tableau. Yet this storybook setting was born not from fantasy, but from strategic necessity. For nearly 5 centuries, from the 11th to the 16th, this was the seat of the powerful Counts of Gruyère, who commanded the fertile Seine valley below. Their reign, however, ended not in a great battle, but with a declaration of bankruptcy in 1554. This financial collapse proved to be the town's unlikely preservation. Development abruptly halted, freezing the single cobblestone street and its gabled houses in time. What we see today is more than just a quaint village. It is a perfectly preserved monument to a dynasty's ambition and its ultimate fall. A silent testament to how history, even in its failures, can inadvertently sculpt a masterpiece of enduring beauty. To gaze upon Kilimanjaro is not to see a single mountain, but to witness a story of creation told in 3 epic acts. This colossal stratovolcano is, in fact, a union of 3 distinct volcanic cones, each born of a different era. First came Shira, now a collapsed caldera, its life force extinguished nearly 500,000 years ago. Then, Mwenzi erupted, its violent energy leaving behind the jagged, eroded spires we see to the east. Finally, Kibo, the youngest and highest, rose between them. While we call it dormant, the smell of sulfur from its ash pit is a potent reminder that the forces that built this giant are merely sleeping. This geological lineage is etched into every step of the ascent. Trekkers cross the vast Shira Plateau, the floor of that first ancient volcano, before skirting the formidable rock towers of Mwenzi. The final push is up the serene, symmetrical slopes of Kibo, a landscape that feels almost lunar, leading to the fabled ice fields at the summit. To climb here is to walk through deep time, to feel the pulse of a planet still in the process of shaping itself. A journey not just to a summit, but through the very heart of a geological dynasty. Lahore is a city of layers, but its deepest truths are found within the phantom embrace of its ancient walls. The Androun Sher, or walled city, was once a world unto itself, encircled by a 30-foot-high fortified wall and entered through 13 monumental gates. While the British demolished most of the wall in the mid-19th century, the gateways, or at least their memory and location, endure, still channeling the city's lifeblood. This original design, intended for defense, has bequeathed a unique urban legacy. The labyrinthine alleyways, or kuchas, are too narrow for modern traffic, creating a pedestrian world where the scent of cardamom tea and sizzling kebabs hangs heavy in the air. The acoustics of these tight corridors amplify the calls to prayer and the din of commerce, a soundscape largely unchanged since the height of the Mughal Empire. It's a powerful reminder that a city's character is often defined not by what has been added, but by the enduring logic of its original blueprint, a ghost that still dictates the intimate, human pace of life within its heart. After a 4-hour trek through dense, mist-shrouded rainforest, the view that finally emerges is nothing short of primordial. There, cradled in a volcanic crater nearly 1,100 meters above sea level, sits Wai Ribo. The village is a precise arrangement of 7 Ombaruniang, the traditional cone-shaped houses of the Manggarai people, their thatched roofs descending almost to the earth like protective cloaks. This is not arbitrary architecture. Each house is a 5-story microcosm of their cosmology, a physical link between the realm of the living, the spirits of ancestors, and the creator god, Moro. The circular layout around a central stone altar, the Kompang, reinforces a philosophy of community and shared origin, a design that has sustained them for 19 generations. To see Wai Ribo is to understand that this isolation is not a weakness, but its greatest strength, a natural fortress that has allowed a unique and deeply considered way of life to persist, in perfect harmony with the sacred mountains that both hide and protect it. Hokkaido presents a profound departure from the Japan of popular imagination, a difference rooted not just in latitude, but in deep time and recent history. For millennia, this was Izo, the ancestral homeland of the Ainu people, and it was only formally annexed by the Meiji government a little over 150 years ago. This remarkably recent integration is etched into the very fabric of the landscape. Cities like Sapporo unfold in rational North American-style grids, a stark contrast to the labyrinthine lanes of older Japanese capitals. Beyond the planned cities, the island's vast wilderness speaks to its geological youth, a land still being actively forged by the 21 active volcanoes that punctuate its horizons. This is why Hokkaido feels like a frontier. The dialogue between humanity and the elemental forces of the earth is younger here, more direct. A conversation where the ink on the map is still drying and the ground itself is still writing the next chapter. The eye is inevitably drawn to the peninsula, a finger of land where the Seeburg Castle has stood sentinel for nearly a millennium. Erected in the 12th century by the barons of Ringenberg, its location was no accident of beauty, but a calculated choice of strategic defense, commanding a clear view of the waters. Yet the true architect of this scene is the lake itself. Lake Brienz owes its astonishing turquoise hue not to sunlight alone, but to the geology of the high Alps. Countless fine glacial particles, suspended in the water after their long journey from the Ahr Glacier, scatter the light to create this luminous, almost surreal color. This glacial milk is a constant, slow-motion reminder of the immense forces that carved this valley tens of thousands of years ago. Here, in this quiet fishing village, the fleeting ambitions of medieval lords are set against the patient, powerful artistry of geology, a dialogue between human history and deep time, spoken in stone and water. Leaving the arid expanse of the Hunza River behind, the journey into Naltar is a dramatic shift in both altitude and ecology. This narrow valley, a deep incision into the Karakoram batholith, was scoured into existence by glaciers over millennia, and the meltwater that now feeds it carries a unique mineral signature, a geological fingerprint left by the surrounding rock. This specific hydrochemistry is the secret behind the valley's famous chain of lakes, painting Satrangi, Pari, and the aptly named Blue Lake, with hues that seem almost artificial against the deep greens of the surrounding pine and fir forests. It is this precise combination of water, rock, and relative isolation that has also created a protected sanctuary, providing a critical high-altitude habitat for the elusive Aster markhor. Naltar, therefore, is more than just a scenic detour. It is a compact lesson in geomorphology, a powerful testament to how immense geological forces can conspire to create isolated pockets of impossible, concentrated vibrancy. What we call the Ngorongoro crater is, in geological terms, a profound misnomer. This is not the scar of a celestial impact, but the ghost of a colossal volcano. Some 2 to 3 million years ago, a mountain that may have once rivaled Kilimanjaro in stature exhausted its fiery heart and collapsed in upon itself, creating this vast, unbroken caldera. Its walls, now standing some 600 meters high, are the direct legacy of that ancient cataclysm, forming a near-perfect natural enclosure across 260 square kilometers of fertile plains. This geological containment is the key to understanding the crater's magic. It has fostered one of the highest densities of wildlife on the African continent, a self-sustaining world where most herbivores have no need to migrate. Here, the landscape itself dictates the terms of existence, a perfectly contained theatre where the timeless cycles of predator and prey unfold on a stage forged by the Earth's own violent and ultimately life-giving creation. To truly understand Dunedin is to understand a dream transplanted across 12,000 miles of ocean. It was never merely named for Dun Idaean, the Gaelic for Edinburgh. It was conceived as its southern twin, a perfect echo of home. When the first Scottish Free Church settlers arrived in 1848, their surveyor was explicitly instructed to replicate the street plan of their distant capital. This rigid, orderly grid was then laid across a landscape of staggering volcanic drama, the remnants of a massive shield volcano whose ancient power had carved the deep harbour and the protective encircling hills. What turned this ambitious blueprint into a stone and mortar reality, however, was gold. The Otago gold rush of the 1860s flooded the fledgling city with unimaginable wealth, funding the construction of a Gothic university, an ornate railway station, and a cathedral that would not look out of place in Europe's finest capitals. Here, the rigid lines of human ambition are etched onto the wild caldera-carved terrain, a lasting testament to how memory, geology, and a river of gold can conspire to create a place utterly unique in the world. To truly comprehend Yogyakarta, one must look beyond its celebrated arts and ancient temples, and towards the ever-present smoking cone of Mount Merapi. This volcano is not merely a dramatic backdrop. It is the northern anchor of a powerful cosmological axis, a sacred line that has dictated the city's spiritual and physical layout for centuries. Javanese philosophy holds that this invisible meridian connects the destructive masculine power of the mountain through the worldly and political center of the Sultan's palace, or Kraton, and finally to the mystical feminine energy of the Indian Ocean, home to the Queen of the Southern Sea. This is not just abstract belief. The city's main thoroughfare is a tangible manifestation of this axis, a direct conduit between these potent forces. To walk these streets is to trace a line that harmonizes the primal power of the earth with the divine authority of the monarchy, revealing a city conceived not just by planners, but by mystics, a living diagram of a universe held in delicate, perpetual balance. The name, Interlaken, translates with a simple, elegant accuracy, between the lakes. Yet this placid description belies the immense geological drama that sculpted its foundation, for the town does not merely sit between two bodies of water, it is the very reason they are two. It rests upon a remarkably flat expanse of land known as the Bodeli, a fertile sedimentary plain that is a geological infant, a feature that did not exist a mere 12,000 years ago. Following the final retreat of the last great glaciers, this entire valley held a single, vast alpine lake, a colossal body of water stretching from shore to distant shore. Over the ensuing millennia, the twin Lütschina rivers, born from the meltwater of eternal ice, began their patient work, carrying a relentless cargo of rock and sediment ground from the high faces of the Eiger, Mönch and Jungfrau. Where their alpine currents slowed upon entering the lake, they deposited this mountainous load, slowly building a natural delta. This alluvial fan grew, inch by inch, century by century, an inexorable advance of land into water until it created a geological schism, cleaving the one great lake into the two distinct basins we see today, Thun and Brienz. The very ground here is therefore a living testament to the patient, powerful artistry of ice and water, a land bridge forged by the slow, grinding passage of time that now serves as humanity's perfect, improbable threshold to the high peaks beyond. Strasbourg exists as a city of elegant contradictions, a place where two great European cultures converge not in a clash, but in a delicate, time-worn harmony. Its heart, the Grande Ile, was the first entire city centre to be named a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to a history shaped by its strategic position on the Rhine. For over 2,000 years, this was a coveted prize, passing between French and German hands no fewer than 4 times since the late 17th century. This constant shift is not a footnote in a history book. It is etched into the very fabric of the city. You see it in the steep-roofed, timber-framed houses of the Petite France Quarter, which feel distinctly Germanic, and yet, just a short walk away, the grand squares and hotels' particulars speak with a clear French accent. Ultimately, it is this layered identity, born from centuries of conflict, that gives Strasbourg its profound modern significance. A city that once embodied division now serves as a powerful capital of reconciliation. The air in Monterey carries the salt of the Pacific and the bark of sea lions, a seemingly timeless coastal soundtrack that belies a turbulent, layered past. For more than 70 years, long before the gold rush redefined the West, this was the political and cultural heart of Alta California, its capital under both Spanish and Mexican rule. You can still feel that era in the cool, thick walls of the remaining adobes. Yet that history was almost entirely paved over by the industrial roar that followed. In the early 20th century, the shoreline was remade into Cannery Row, a waterfront machine built to process a ceaseless silver tide of sardines. The bay that had once welcomed galleons now fueled a global industry. Today, with the canneries long silent and the bay a world-renowned marine sanctuary, Monterey exists as a fascinating paradox. It is a place where history is not erased, but compressed into visible strata, a colonial capital, an industrial engine, and a conservation jewel, all coexisting on the edge of a deep submarine canyon that holds its own ancient secrets. Dominating the horizon is the singular form of Morro Rock, a landmark so immense it seems to anchor the very coastline to the continent. Yet what appears as a solid monolith is, in fact, the throat of an ancient and long-extinct volcano. It's a dacite plug, the westernmost of the Nine Sisters, a chain of peaks forged by immense geological pressures some 23 million years ago. For millennia, this 576-foot sentinel was a sacred site for the Salinan and Chumash peoples, its enduring presence later guiding Spanish mariners along this treacherous coast. Today, it serves a different, though no less vital purpose. It acts as a natural breakwater, sheltering the harbour that is the lifeblood of the town and creating a unique estuarine ecosystem where sea otters find refuge among the